We got a couch.
And we got a new name as well.
We've got a couch and we've got a new name. And we had one job. What was our job? Shave, cut your hair, and look presentable for camera. As we look in, there's a lot of guys. It's just amazing.
But I'm wearing our sponsor's hat. So
Yes, so we
Koza,
good.
shout
And
out.
yes, shout out to them. And your shoes are matching.
Yes, I know.
I messaged Carl and I said, yo, bro, it's our first episode. We got a new name. What are we wearing? And he's like, yeah, I've got a tan sweater on. I started to say, are we going to color coordinate and wear denim? He's like, I left the house, but I got a bit Koza hat, so it's fine.
Can we please talk about our change of name? Because
Yes.
we have to also acknowledge that the last name of our
Horrible.
podcast was what we.
It sounded so
That-
Constantia Village.
You
so
are like-
suburbs.
Yes,
it's
bruh.
the sports podcast with oat milk and gluten-free sports. No.
You like one of the most creative people I know, and you were okay. You okayed
Oh,
that.
I know.
You came up with the idea. I was just like, okay, yeah, let's
You
just
know
do
why
it.
I okayed it? Because we'd go down together. Like, you know,
Now it was shocking. Now that we think of it,
It was
But
horrible. Look at camera, Carl. Look at camera. To our millions of listeners, I know Ronaldo listens, Messi, all the top end sportsmen, and women. Thank you for listening. And sorry for our name, but we've got a new name, and I like our new name.
I love it too.
Do you want to tell the listeners what the viewers, the everything? Because we're on video now. We're not just audio.
Yep, non-traveling reserves podcast.
Welcome to Non-Traveling Reserves. Why? Because we always get selected, but they never have budget to fly us over. Man.
Yeah,
So
and it was also a homage to our life as former cricketers and
Yes.
athletes.
yes.
Where
Well-
we just were never good enough, but we tell
Yeah,
people
yes,
we were
yes,
good.
We were never good enough. We essentially are the uncles who say, "Yo, I could have made it if I didn't have an injury."
Exactly. Well, I think I just had a social problem. I just like to party too much.
Yes,
that was my issue.
I was gonna say, if you are a former UWC student or current one watching now, just go to any of the fields. You'll see Carl's name just lying on the ground. Go to the barn. I'm sure you left your name there a few times.
I think so.
But I'm happy we're back.
I'm also happy we're back, and because there's so much to discuss. And I mean, there was a lot of people. Well, I mean, I could count them on my fingers,
Yes.
but they still asked us like, where
Where?
is the podcast?
Yes, and that's the magic thing. Thank you to the past and present viewers and listeners. I didn't know people listen to us. I'm
Yeah.
being honest. I thought it's just my family group.
Me as
Because
well.
I was watching the views, I'm like, okay, that's Linda, Jerry,
Yeah.
Jolene Liesel, and our auntie here and there. So shout out to you guys.
Yeah.
And we just two bras that want to talk sport. Carl Lewis, for me, is the best in the business. I'll put my name on it, which is not worth much, but in retreat, it's worth a lot. It's the avenues. No, I'm joking. So, brah, yeah, it's great to chat sport with you. And
Yeah.
I'm emotional because there's been so much amazingness.
And it's good to be back. We have some nice topics
We do.
to talk about. So today, I think we'll discuss T20 World Cup.
Definitely.
Obviously, the Proteas are playing. By the time this comes out, the Proteas will be playing the West Indies already.
Yes.
But I think I still want to talk about that. 'Cause
You have to. It's so cute. You got a
If-
new test captain.
if there is time, I would love to ask you about your experience of the SA20.
Yes.
And because you were involved in that tournament on a
Yes.
professional level. And then I think Manchester United, they won their
Benny in
first
the 18
silverware.
Bruh, I don't even care about United. Benny won the trophy.
Well, I mean, he's doing some magic work with specifically Rashford.
Yes.
And then, I mean, I don't think you care, but Chelsea
What is
and
that?
Graham Potter.
I know Chelsea used to play in one of the local leagues. There's a Chelsea Mitchell's playing, if I'm not mistaken. In
Is
the
it?
Liverpool Portlands.
I know that,
There's
yeah.
a Burnley. If there's not a Chelsea, start a Chelsea, so I don't look like I don't know sports.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay.
But yeah, we have to speak about Chelsea. I mean, yay, Chelsea. I'm on it.
I just think it's an interesting
mu-
discussion because they've spent over 200 billion pounds
Yes.
and they can't score any
At
goals,
all.
dude.
And Tuchel was in South Africa.
Yes, apparently people were taking pictures with him at wine farms and stuff.
Yeah, so shout out
that's
to
dope.
Tuchel. You showed love to our country and we'll show love to you. Formula E
Yeah,
is a lot. I love that our intro is almost as long as the show.
yeah.
Oh, you want to get into it?
Let us get into it, and I'm going to start us off
Yes.
and ask you.
Give us a 3, 2, 1 action, man. Make it professional.
No, we should go 3, 2, 1, break.
Okay.
Like the
Okay.
3, 2,
2,
1,
1,
break.
Team non-traveling reserves.
So I want to start off with the T20 World Cup that just ended now.
ICC Women's T20 World Cup.
ICC T20 Women's World Cup. Now, our ladies, I feel like they achieved their goals.
They won.
They achieved their goals, and I want to discuss kind of the legacy of this tournament.
Yes.
And stuff. But you work quite closely. You were at quite a few games and
Yes.
stuff. Your experience Your thoughts on the T20 World Cup?
I was
I thought we did a great job hosting.
100%. South Africa knows how to host things.
Yeah,
we know.
that's true.
We know how to show up. Right? We got a goud train. That is legacy of the 2010 World Cup.
Yes.
We know how to host things, bruh. So ICC Women's T20 World Cup was a jam. Personally, it was always a privilege to be involved. I didn't know if I was going to be involved or not, but I worked at Paul. Portland Park. Paul is just special for so many reasons.
They love their sport there.
Dude, it was so magic. So I was stadium announcer / match day MC / get here's going.
Yeah.
But one of the most magical things is the crowd is always there. So if you shout, "Vaas het lekker," they'll shout, "Hier sit lekker."
Yeah.
They're there for it. But the Proteas beat New Zealand in that specific match.
Crashed New Zealand.
Right?
And they needed to.
And there were 3 early wickets. And then I started telling the crowd, okay, everybody, I can't speak Afrikaans. My Afrikaans is like the signal when load shedding happens. It's just like up and down. And then I shout, all right, mense van die Pero. Right, we're just going to shout, old school, when the aunties let you dance, we want more.
Yeah.
And then the whole stadium just started shouting, we want more. And it was so quiet because the Proteas women were in a dominant position.
Yeah.
And for them having fans behind them in a full stadium, come the finals, 12,500 plus at Newlands. I'm going, they deserve this and more.
Yeah.
So well done to all the stadiums for making sure, not only for the Proteas women's games, but for the other big matches, that there were numbers. It wasn't always full, but in terms of making sure that our ladies get the love, well done.
And according to like the tournament organizers, I know it wasn't full all the time, but they said the numbers for Women's World Cup is, they're calling it a success.
I think it's a massive success. I mean, even if you look at the semis that happened on the Friday and the Thursday, then South Africa progressed.
Yeah.
And then there was a massive call. Guys go out and buy tickets. By Saturday, sold out by 1 o'clock.
Yeah, how many people? Just under 13,000?
Yeah, 12,000.
That's the highest attendance for a match in South Africa. The previous record was the opener against Sri Lanka, which was 7,700.
Bro, that's 5,000 plus, because if I'm not mistaken, we can pull the number and put it over here, because we quite like that. I think it was 12,786. Now, what that means is we're not just going to the sevens anymore. We're not just going to concerts at Cape Town Stadium. We're not just going to Derby days football-wise. And I say this with love because the Sevens has built a massive brand.
Yeah.
We had the Sevens World Cup.
Yeah.
They know December, it's party time. But when you see this filtering into a Women's World Cup, a SA20, you're going, fans are hungry to support their people.
Specifically in Cape Town, I think if you do the right marketing, I thought that what the franchises taught us in SA20 is that if you have a good social media thing going, if you're marketing your event properly, we will turn up. Specifically Cape Town, and plus it hasn't been a New Year's test here for a while, so people are hungry. But a couple of things. I know we didn't win the World Cup.
Yes.
But those who maybe don't know the women's game that well need to know that Australia's not just one of the greatest cricket sides ever.
Yeah.
They are one of the most dominant sporting sides across genders.
Spit the facts,
across sports.
Spit the facts.
So they are just an incredibly good side and hard to beat. That's why I say objectives achieved. We did really well. And I always look at our final was basically that semi-final against England.
Yes.
We outplayed them on with bat and ball. And I think when you reach those highs emotionally, it's hard to get back up to that level of performance.
Yes.
Think of England, who clapped New Zealand in the World Cup semi-finals.
Yes.
Then they had to face the Box in the World
It's a
Cup.
lot.
And we clapped them because just as emotional to reach that peak is really tough. But this is my last point on the Women's World Cup. This is why I think it's such a huge success. On the 13th of Feb, there was the first auction of the women's IPL.
I love that. We got a couple of players involved.
Now, 15-year-old girls who are playing club cricket or cricket for their school, there is now a definitive pathway that, I can follow my passion and I can earn money from this. Shabnim Ismail and Marisan Cap, they're overnight millionaires now.
100%.
So
deserve all
for
the
me,
flowers.
That's what's exciting about the women's game, and that's the legacy of the tournament, that girls can actually see a pathway for success.
And that their heroines are women. Because what's happened with the growth of the female game is that finally, over the past few years, we formalized their contract for our national players. It's not maybe up there where it needs to be, but it will start growing more. More investment allows for more national players to be contracted, which will filter into our domestic system, and more girls going, okay, we X, Y, and Z and can get provincial contracts. But for me, like, the good thing is a 12-year-old girl goes, my hero's Lord of Warford. It's Shubnam Ishmael, it's Sanalo Jafta. Not previously when there wasn't that much coverage to go, oh, Quentin de Kock, it's an AB, and all respect to the men's game. But our women have women role models in the game. And for me, that's the magic, because you've got SA ladies playing across all formats internationally.
Hopefully we can build on this.
With the men's game.
Well, maybe that's the perfect segue to the men's game, because there's a rebirth now. Shukri Conrad in charge of the test team.
Yes.
He's made some bold selection calls for this test series that's starting against the Windies this week. While we're recording on a Monday, the game is starting tomorrow.
Yes.
By the time you'll already have seen this. But, I mean, he dropped Calverena.
Yes.
He dropped Sarel Evia.
Yes.
He brought back Aiden Markram. I think he's going to...
drop Lungi Ngidi.
Lungi Ngidi for Gerald Coetzee, who got 5 wickets in domestic cricket recently.
Yes.
So he's brought back Ryan Rickleton. He dropped Rassie van der Dussen.
Yes. Big decisions.
And but I feel like that's Shukri Conrad, though. If you've ever heard about him, how he operates, he's not someone that's going to shy away from big decisions. If my name's on it, I'll take responsibility. I'm going to make my decisions.
Yes.
And even with his backroom staff, he made...
Yes.
So, let me just ask you then. How are you feeling about this test series?
I'm excited for this new era. I feel like we've hit the lowest of lows over the past 2 years on and off the field.
Yeah.
In terms of politics, in terms of selection, non-selection, whatever could have happened has happened. So now with the 2 new coaches, with the red ball coach and a white ball coach, I'm excited, especially also Temba test captaincy. I'm like, that's a good move, right?
I think so too. He's been our best batsman over the past 2 years, and this is statistically backed up. He's averaged over 40 in the last 2 years.
Yes.
No one else can come close to that. Dean Alger, test captaincy has affected his performances. He's been shocking. And I don't think he's a good captain as well.
Some decisions at the toss, you're like, why are we batting?
Yes, dude.
We can't go make a statement.
And I'm not saying Temba is this world beater of a test captain or anything like that, but I've seen Temba captain. He's won T20 tournaments with the Lions.
Yes. He's been a calm. In all the storms he's been in. Even with the T20 World Cup and the T20 format where he hasn't had the greatest of form, he's been a good skipper.
Yes, he's a good captain. Although I want the people out there to know that I can separate the two. I can acknowledge that he's a good leader and that I'm happy that he's test captain. But in that same breath, I maybe think I look at how the game is going. I don't think he should be in the T20 side.
Yes.
Just based on form.
On facts and numbers.
But when it comes to test captaincy, I'm happy with it because I just don't rate Dean as a captain.
I also think he'd be relieved of not having T20 duties. Like, the whirlwind of stress that he's had on his shoulders.
I could never.
Like, as cricket lovers, we look at him and like, yo, Temba, bro, I can see you stressed.
How can it not stress you? You know, there's a big part of this population that dislikes you for, you know.
Also, while we're on that, if you're listening and watching, don't come troll us here with comments 1, 2, 3. Don't racist comments for the third comment. No? We're just going to delete you and not acknowledge you. This is a fair play space. We're looking to love humans first. So if you're not lekker, that's all. Okay.
Thank you for saying that.
Yeah, please. That's a belief. Because I love the fact that we can block people on social media. We'll block you if you're not here to be lekker.
So basically, you are optimistic about this?
I'm optimistic because I'm going, we need to rebuild this young side that we have. If you look at I saw a post of, I think it was 2012, where Smith was captain and we were one in each format. Top ODI, T20 and Test side, 2012. And I was going, we had so much depth. If we look at our top 6 now, we go, who? Temba's been the constant, and we go, who? Dean at one stage was the constant.
Yes. And I'm not advocating for Dean to be dropped.
No,
he's a
fighter.
Keep him. He's
a fighter, man. He'll score you 100, he'll dig deep. But you've also, Rickleton, fine form, Erwe, fine form. Keegan Peterson is back in the mix. I know Erwe is not there, but Peterson, after the India series, like, come on, we need you to not be injured.
Injured, and we need you to convert those excellent 60s and 70s into hundreds now.
Hundreds.
That's the biggest issue with South African cricket. Oaks are just not scoring hundreds.
From domestic.
And I really encourage those who are watching to go to a channel called Jared Kimber. He's an Australian journalist. He did such an objective and beautifully good video piece on South African batting woes over the past few years. And I mean, himself as an Australian, he can see the unnecessary negativity that Temba gets.
Yes.
He commented on that like, yo, damn, it's intense.
It's a lot.
So
And we tough as a nation to please. We're so flaky.
yeah. But look, I'm excited. We still have world-class bowling. We have Andrik Nokia.
Oh, bowling
we have
is never
Kagiso
the...
Rabada,
Bruh, we murderers. Murder.
Gerald Coetzee now.
150 plus for fun. We
Yeah.
got a scary bowling lineup. And Norkia's moustache is even better
Yeah.
to add all the...
What a great bowler to have in your arsenal.
And even for Coetzee to come in with that experience in the change room. It was great when we had young Vern coming in maybe with a Steyn and a Morne,
Yeah.
them, etc. And this is good when you have experience guiding, and we're missing that in the batting department.
I'm very intrigued to see how they're going to select the makeup of the side. Are they going to choose 3 bowlers and 1 spinner with Kesh? Or they're going to go 4 seamers, maybe play 2 all-rounders, Vian Mulder at 7, Marco Jansen at 8. I'm not sure. I'm very interested to see. What I do want to see is Adrian Markham's been selected and he probably will open. I'm excited to see that.
Yes.
KP at 3, Temba at 4.
Yes.
And then I was thinking maybe Heinrich Klaasen and Ryan Rickleton at 5 and 6.
Yeah.
And then I don't know what you're
We
going to
need
do
that
with the bowling.
all-rounder. Also, shout out to Jansen. Big fan of him.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
He's,
ICC's newcomer of the year.
yeah, he's definitely someone to invest in.
I would go to war with him.
No, he's...
I just feel like he blends in all over. He's just, even since his debut, he's got that old school young mentality approach of, I'm an Italian, bruh.
Yeah.
And I back my talent. So,
Yeah. So,
good luck, lads.
yeah, good luck. Series starts tomorrow. You can, I guess I'll give a shout to the sponsor.
Yeah.
You can bet on that game at Betkoza. I got one more question to end off the cricket question.
Yetta.
No, I mean, for me, the SA20 was a
Yes.
absolute success. Dude.
What a time.
Across the country, happy the Sunrisers Eastern Cape won. I did this preview podcast of my own podcast that I have. And the one guy said to me, I don't think Sunrisers Eastern Cape and my Cape Town are selecting from the same player pool.
Yes.
Because there was such a difference in squad.
What a great underdog story.
Yes, dude. I love that. But you worked at the stadiums, and
Yes.
what's your impression of the the competition? I think
I
it
was
was
so
brilliant.
fortunate to have the inside view from before the first ball was bowled, working with my Cape Town and just going, oh, so this is the marketing angle of getting people involved. We worked with myself and Yasin Barnes with the comedians, 2 singers with Joey Nevis and Paxton Phillies, and then from KFM it was Carl Wasty and Sibs
Sibs.
Mafu. And I go, okay, so the angle is getting people behind the team prior to the first ball being bowled. That's magic. But then I walk into Newlands for the first time. Oh my word. So for those of you who don't know, Carl and I grew up in the junior Western Province provincial cricket system. So Newlands is home. And I only say this because, look, we got many ducks there. I'm not saying we performed. I'm just saying we were at Newlands a lot, right? And the reason I say this is because I've never seen Newlands branded like this. So I'm going, oh my word, it's a billboard of Buren Hendricks, our local brand.
There was a billboard of you, Dalin.
Yeah, but no, look, that's
you.
a childhood dream, but I wasn't playing. But I'm going, I've never seen so much amazing fanfare attached to something where our captain's there, Abada's there, George Linder's there. These are Owens who grew up in the mother city, in the cricket pipeline. And before you even went to the field, you as a fan had a great experience.
Okay.
So that's my talking point where I go, before you got to your seat, you got maybe a flag, you got a free T-shirt, you got a hat. There were SA20 hats, there were SA20 T-shirts, there were my Cape Town flags, T-shirts. So by the time you're in your seat, you're like, yo, this experience is fantastic. Then there was a DJ, there was fireworks.
Yeah, there was a lot going on, eh?
There was a lot of magic that was in stadium to make sure that you as a fan went, I just want to come back for this jaw.
So here's my other question then. Because I said I was going to ask you one, but now...
Ask me many.
But I feel that the professionalism and obviously the money that comes with having IPL owners, that professionalism and maybe marketing now that's made IPL such a success that side, they kind of brought some of their principles here.
100%.
And it's definitely worked, bro. Clearly... South Africa has fallen maybe out of love with the way the Proteas have played, but they haven't fallen out of love with actual cricket.
100%.
They still will support cricket.
And we saw that because we've hosted 2 World Cups. I say 3 because the SA20. The other one was the under-19 Women's T20 World Cup as well, right? So that's 2 World Cups within the space of 3 months and the SA20. That's 3 flagship tournaments. One locally, the other 2 internationally. So we're a cricket-loving nation that has now gone, we've got faith again. Because we haven't had cricket at this level
Yeah.
in terms of consistency, fans in stadiums, experiences, good cricket, because that's always the number one thing. Take all the festivities out. Cricket's the number one thing, and cricket
You
won.
still need a good product.
You
yeah.
know what I mean? So cricket won, and by virtue of curating those fan experiences, the locals have gone, we want to come back to stadiums.
Yeah.
And now I think there's a lot of pressure on Cricket South Africa to go, how do we make sure that for the Windies, we've got a T20 series as well, for the upcoming series throughout the year, how do we make sure that we continue that momentum,
Yeah.
both men and women and local tournaments, because our players domestically deserve the same love.
So,
Bruh,
the
we can't just go to,
Dalin.
you
so-
know what I mean?
And I feel like our domestic provinces could learn
Yes.
from what like I see the Joburg Super Kings. I see Gerald. They showing 2-minute highlights of Gerald Coetzee playing 4-day cricket.
Yes, magic.
It's not just because now it's done.
done.
We
No,
finished with
100%.
you. But that's the thing. Our fans don't have access to watch these 4-day
Yes.
games. They're not seeing Gerald Coetzee get 5 wickets
Yes.
because our
They're not
unions
seeing
could do more.
Tony De Souza scoring 100 after
300. No, 300. He scored a triple
He scored
century.
a triple century in a
Ye-
four. Are you mad?
Yeah.
My voice can't even go.
So
Do you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
then on the back end of that, before and after, he had, I think it was how many centuries? 3 or 4? I'm blowing up
before
numbers.
that,
I'm not
don't,
giving
don't
right
make up
numbers.
numbers.
I'm
Don't make
making
up
up
numbers.
numbers, yeah.
But he did score. Then they moved to, I think it was
The One Day Cup?
the One Day Cup. He got 80 odd.
Yes, there
I
was
think
a
he might
ton.
have scored a century
There was a
as
ton.
well. He scored 2 80s and a century.
Yes. We'll put the correct number here,
Okay, hopefully.
hopefully, if it's in video.
Our graphic design team. Well, we should also give a shout out to our team.
Yes, amazing.
Obviously, Durant, who set all of this up.
Yes.
Durant has been with us from
Yes.
the start.
Yes.
And then Jason, he's been
Amazing.
on our graphics from
He's
the
been
start.
from the start as well.
And doing it. Jason is doing
Thank
doing
you,
it out of
Jason.
the love of his own heart. He doesn't even.
He's sponsoring 2 Colored Boys. That's
Yeah,
his-
that he's actually sees us as-
we CSI project. That's what it is.
So thank you for being so giving, because he's a world class designer.
And skateboarder.
And then we have a new team member,
Addition.
Kayla Peters.
Yes.
She's our video editor.
I met her today,
Yes.
and she hasn't looked at me once because she's pinning that laptop. She's just like, writing. But yeah, sorry if I got excited and I blow numbers out the ground. But sometimes you need that uncle just to sell things.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna be that uncle. Carl's the correct numbers guy. I'm just here to look confident.
I don't even have the correct numbers, but
But great seeing Tony De Souza. in the
yes,
side.
yes. Yeah.
But that's what we're saying. There was a One Day Cup final at the Wonders Lions province, and I watched that going, yeah, no, the stadium should have been full. The stadium
Yes,
should have
it's
been
a-
full.
it's
That was
proper.
before the SA20.
Mm.
It was just on the back end of it. And imagine that there had been, it was in between. There was a period, but I'm going, it should have been full.
Yeah. And why don't you have someone that's able to chop up a 1.5 minute video
Yeah.
of some highlights of your players and make us feel connected to your brand? How?
Give us the access. That was the right word you had. Give us the access, and also, people don't know where to consume it.
Exactly.
Like they're streaming it Pitch Vision, if I'm not
Pitch.
mistaken.
Yes, thank goodness for Pitch Vision.
But the cricketing people and the sports people know about it. And
Yeah.
what these tournaments have done that we've hosted recently, it's converted non-cricketing fans
Yes.
into spectators at stadiums.
Yeah.
And by virtue, they become cricketing fans.
Yeah, definitely something to.
It's not a cricket podcast, by the
Yeah,
way.
something to be excited about.
Yeah.
And hopefully we can build off the momentum of the SA20 and now obviously the T20 Women's World Cup. Cricket South Africa definitely needed to get the attention off their boardroom antics
Yes.
and the off the field stuff. So hopefully, the 2023 can be a good year cricketing wise, and hopefully the Proteas can win the series. Unfortunately, they can't make the final of this World Test Championship, which is sad.
Is that now done, no?
Yeah, mathematically they
Because
can't.
we were second.
Yes.
And then we just said safe.
Yeah. I need to be able to give you the full rundown on why, but it's a very convoluted and complicated.
Yes.
But
It's a great podcast when one of the hosts say convoluted, my bro. Huh? We just throw in 3 big words per episode.
and it
That's-
makes us sound legit.
yeah,
Gives us credibility.
Spell it. Scrabble.
I guess that's cricket done and dusted. I think let's move on to Manchester United.
Penny in the 18 area. The biggest difference there. I know 10 Hag's done amazing. So happy. But I'm such a bad patriot. Because even with Australia winning the T20 for the women, I just go, who? We won. South Africa won. Even if we second, I'll fight you. Penny won the trophy. Stray me. Rashford didn't score.
I am absolutely going to stray you.
Wys my
Eric Ten Hag is obviously a very good manager.
100%. I didn't disagree.
He's just, this United side is actually like exciting to watch.
But they gave Ten Hag the space after not giving him the space. Is that fair?
Yes, one could say that. I don't know. Yes, they've given him the space, but I think he's had time now to implement his ideas. I still think their transfer policy, that could be looked at, but he's shown more than enough now to say, damn, this is a manager we can invest.
We won a trophy. We can win another one.
Exactly.
Can we win the treble this year? Is it still possible?
I
can win Europa.
You can win Europa. You can win a cup treble, and you can win the FA Cup.
FA.
But for me, the league is
it gone?
I mean, mathematically, obviously not, but I wouldn't expect it.
Where's your belief?
Why must I have belief?
Where's your quiz call? Benny's there. By virtue, you support Manchester United. I know you support Tottenham.
No, I don't support Ipswich. Thank you.
Ipswich Town. You know, that's like supporting Krugersdorp FC.
Krugersdorp FC is actually doing very well. No, I'm joking.
Yes, there was a Showmax documentary about Krugersdorp. I'm being a child, but Carl's very impartial. And I love that about him. I'm just emotional.
Yeah, can I tell you who I want? I want Arsenal to win the league.
You do? Do you think they have the stamina?
I don't know. I mean, I think all of us who watch footy is waiting for that inevitable stumble.
Yes.
And it's happened. But Man City couldn't capitalize themselves.
Yes.
So
that's big. I always love the fact that City's not on top. Because
me as
money.
well.
So anyone can win. And I'm not like one of those sour United supporters, the mad ones who get tattoos of themselves and then fight with each other. And I say this because, as I said, that United supporters swore at me for saying that, right? But when City's not on top, I'm happy because then I'm going, money's not winning.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. It's they had the stranglehold of the league, and for Arsenal to, I mean, with Arteta, there were times where he could have easily been fired.
Yes.
But it just shows you give a manager time to have their principles instilled in the club and allow them to have a cultural effect, a cultural change on the club, which is what has happened
Have you seen
under
his TikTok
Arteta.
team talks?
No.
Arteta.
Yes, I have.
It's the best.
It sounds weird with a Spanish accent. I'm always like, ugh.
Also, if you're South African, you'll know that it's difficult to say Arteta without giggling. Very difficult. But I love the fact that he goes in at them.
Yeah.
It's play for the badge, man.
Yes, and he's really instilled his culture at that club.
Yes.
And I mean, they've made some very good signings, yes. But for me, the biggest thing is that he's been allowed time to affect the club in an emotional and mental way as well. And it's translated to on the field.
So you speak about him being given the time to create spaces, etc., etc. Earlier you mentioned Chelsea. Have they been given the time to create spaces? 200 million plus? Give me the numbers.
I think we need much longer to talk about Chelsea. But
what's been happening there?
I mean, they can't score goals.
Yeah.
They can't score. They spent over £200 million in January, and they've got this mishmash of quality technical players, but they just can't score goals. And
as a sports fundy, what do you see the reason for this is, given the players? You know,
maybe Graham Potter needs time for his ideas to embed into the club.
Yeah.
He hasn't been there for long.
Yeah.
And also, you have
How big a loss was Tuchel?
I mean, in hindsight now, you're thinking, Tuchel, he's worked with big players before at PSG, and they have a lot of big players. So I think there's a lot of things we can talk about Chelsea, and I do want to continue talking about Chelsea. I just had one more thing to say.
Yes.
So I don't have an answer for should Chelsea sack Graham Potter, but I just need people to think about, and I'd love actually people to comment what they would do if they were Chelsea's new owner, Todd Bowley, because he's come in and he's just buying players left, right,
American
and
money. Yeah.
So
is American money real money? Because if they're in debt,
I don't know, but I mean he's blowing his load on quality players.
Yes.
But I ask myself, like Graham Potter, he spent time at Brighton, he transformed that club.
Yes.
Now, should he be afforded that opportunity with Chelsea?
Yes.
I know the stakes are much higher.
But
if you want him to imprint himself and embed himself into this club and play the football he wants to play, you have to stick with him through the bad times. However, I mean, they are really, really struggling though.
Are a lot of the Chelsea players single?
Why?
Because they can't score.
This is part of the reason why I didn't want to do this podcast.
Because of that's a great game.
No,
the
it's not.
timing is perfect.
But that's what I'm saying. I'd love to hear what people
Yes.
have to say about Chelsea.
Please.
Because I don't think there's a right answer.
Because what we said about Chelsea is what we used to say about Arsenal.
Thank you. And that was the point I was trying
Yeah.
to make earlier.
That's why we work well together. Best. Let's sanitize them. That got dirty hands. You're laughing here. You sing. That's
weird that
this is why we have a big couch.
No,
I don't want to be infected by
But
you.
can you hear my voice is not as
I
what
know.
it should be?
You're very sinusy.
Yeah. No, I had a bachelor's on Saturday and
Okay.
it was
Don't
really
disclose
fun.
too much. Yeah.
And no, it wasn't that
Yeah.
crazy. It was
What
just,
was their name?
Hey?
What is the person's name?
Lao.
Don't disclose. This is you lot learning. Number
But we
one
did
rule.
it. There wasn't any like strippers or anything. It was
This is a
literally-
family-friendly
It was
podcast.
literally just dudes hanging out for like
Yes.
12 hours.
I know. It did
And it was really nice. But
Yeah, thanks
it was
to
a
the
long
invite.
day.
Yeah.
And that's why my voice sounds like this. But I think we should end off with
Yes.
one more topic.
Me also. And you know what I love about the professionalism of this podcast? Like, in the first shot, before we had the break, you didn't have sunglasses on. But because we're all about continuity, you've got sunglasses. No, leave it there. Leave it there. I want people to know that we are raw and real about Put it on.
That's so true, Dalin.
Bruh, I love this. This is a new sweater. Did you wear this to the Formula E?
Nah.
Did you
there.
go?
I was there on Friday. Because of the bachelors, I couldn't go
Yes.
to Saturday.
Yes.
But DHL, weirdly enough, I'm
Yes.
giving you free advertising. at
Yeah, if
DHL.
you want to advertise on our
Okay.
show, please.
I'm gonna send that to-
DHL sweater.
Yeah, I'm going to send that to the lady. that-
Send them send it via DHL. Courier it there.
Yes.
Because they're couriers.
Yes.
Yeah, you see what? We just punted your thing for I got DHL.
Sponsorship.
Sponsor us. We need a
Lovely.
sponsor if you want
Anyway,
to sponsor us.
they invited me.
Bet.co.za.
I went on a paddock walk. I went to get access to the garages.
Yes. I just love the fact that you're wearing shades in this, by the way. You look very cool.
Thank you.
You deserve the coolness.
Nah, I'm feeling myself in this
Yeah.
glasses at the moment.
And the paddock was it there on the track?
It's like the pits, man.
Yeah, I know, but was it set up at the stadium by the running
Yes,
track?
yes,
yeah,
yes,
yeah,
yes.
it was on the running track.
Yeah.
I know what paddocks are.
Oh, okay. No, and
These most horse stables or so you got the paddock. Isn't it?
so talking to the people that actually work there and
Yes.
talking to the DHL people
Yes.
that work on it. I mean, logistically, you can only imagine.
Night, because I saw the freight, the plane land the last week.
Did you?
Well, we saw photos of it. We didn't watch the plane land.
Oh, okay.
But we saw the plane landing with all the cargo.
Oh, I
and-
didn't know that.
Yeah,
That was a thing.
it was tweeted from specific individuals in the city. Saying, oh, the plane has landed with all the... I'm like, oh my word,
Okay.
that's the plane that has everything. Yeah.
Okay, so that's quite cool.
Yeah.
But anyway, the people that work for various teams and for DHL who help with the logistics, they are frothing.
Yeah.
They hope that Cape Town will become a regular on the circuit.
Wow.
They love the city.
Yes.
And I think it was a relatively smooth organizational thing.
Yes.
And
I saw there was one or two crashes, but that was during the race.
yeah, that's the race
That's
thing.
expected.
That's a
Yeah.
race thing. But I think as a purely as an event,
Amazing.
I think those who work for Formula E, they are
They
on
loved
board.
it.
They invested, and I'd love to also to whoever was there. How
What-
was the
well,
actual event?
do-
What have you heard?
But so I was unfortunately out of town, so I couldn't be there. But 25,000 plus people were there. Every second colored person I know had a photo of them at the event, which was great. I'm going, oh wow, cool! You had budget to attend. That's amazing, and you could go experience it. From the behind the scenes stuff, friends who's in media just posting some pics with Calvin van der Linde. Our SA driver is driving for Mahindra. Unfortunately, he couldn't partake. They got disqualified, the right word, because of safety issues. That was in qualifying,
Yeah,
so they
technical
couldn't. Technical difficulties.
Yeah.
But I mean, from his side, he's like, your hometown love is great.
Mm.
And for me, I'm like, oh yeah, that's great when you can have your South African local getting love.
Yeah.
But also, I saw Mayor Jordan Hill Lewis tweeting, economic growth wise, 2 billion.
billion.
That is a big number.
Yeah,
Like,
that's what they said.
That is a big number, eh?
It is a big number, and I mean, I can imagine like a lot of the bars and restaurants getting a lot of people
Yes.
after the event, because I think
Yes.
we all realized that the traffic was going to be intense.
Yes.
Around that weekend of race
Yeah.
weekend. So I'm sure people stayed there, waited until the roads emptied a
Yeah.
bit.
I can't wait for November because it's 9 months after the event. You know how many Formula E babies we're going to have? It's going to be like,
Do you reckon
oh
it
my
was
word.
such a good event?
Such a good event. It's Cape Town, bruh.
No, it really is, and it's such an easy city to sell.
Yes.
And from what I hear from the people that I dealt with
Yes.
that work in Formula E, they love it. But I actually haven't heard enough
From the
about
locals.
About locals, not
Yeah.
because they haven't tweeted about it or anything.
Yeah.
I just haven't done.
I haven't had one-on-one interactions. I've seen
Yes.
social media. I'd love to know what people think about the price point of tickets.
So please tell us if you are listening.
Yeah.
If people are
To
still
our
listening
30
to us.
million viewers out there,
Yeah.
let us know. Let it blow up.
Yeah, let us hear. Should it become a regular? Should it become a annual event? Because this is a busy period. We're gonna have the Two Oceans soon, Cape Town Cycle Tour. But yeah, so we both in agreement. Formula E, yes.
Thumbs up. We know how to host events, and it's good for business.
Okay.
The economy grows. That means the people benefit.
Okay.
I'm there for that.
I guess that's our podcast done. But I just wanted to end off because we are back now. The Non-Traveling Reserves podcast.
Yes. Do we have to call it the non-traveling reserves podcast? I think we should just call it
The Non-Traveling Reserves.
or non-traveling reserves. What do you think? Do we need the?
Maybe the last time I put you in charge of creative, you came up
Yes.
with the sports podcast.
What do you think? Do we need the non-traveling or
And
non?
should we add podcast on there or not?
I don't think we should add podcast. Drop the. It's cooler. Yeah, we sound like two uncles. Are you doing the dance moves? Hey, did you put the petrol in?
I will keep it in
I
mind.
see you wearing the sneakers.
I would love
Hey, you wearing the hat? No, you're wearing a hat. You're wearing a
the
hat.
Twitter.
You wear the the Twitter. No, I don't want to be that old. I like non-traveling reserves.
Okay, non-traveling. Okay, cool.
Drop podcast because they know it's a podcast.
And now I'm going to ask you a question. I'm probably going to learn
Yes.
more because I
I'm
don't
married
feel
with
like
3 children.
I don't feel like we're always on the same page when it comes to times and ideas.
Yes.
But we all want the same thing. But your expectations for the podcast going forward, what kind, or what
Just
can
to,
our
just to record it weekly.
Yeah.
I think once we figure out the consistency of it and the commitment to it, we'll be great. You know how committed I want us to this. So Carl and I played club cricket together. Carl didn't have kit. Carl didn't have kit, but he played every week because he was committed to asking his teammates for kit. I'm not even lying. This man didn't have kit. Tell him he didn't have kit.
I did have kit. I just like
You
to use
didn't
other
have
people's
kit.
stuff.
If you played for Saints or UWC, just agree with me. Talented cricketer. Didn't have kit. He had a bag with kit in it, but he didn't use the kit. So he didn't have kit. I don't know why he had a bag. But you were consistent. You came to training, you played, and that's what we want from this podcast.
Yeah.
Because if we're consistent,
Yes.
then we will have kit.
But-
even if we don't have kit.
I like that.
And we want it to be interactive.
Yes, we would love.
Please.
And also, I think
We just do prasa.
we're opening it up with regard. I'm going to speak from the content perspective. It's cricket, rugby, soccer. I mean, I'm in love with NFL at the moment and the NBA. So we're really going to open it up.
Yeah. Sorry.
Open up the content in terms of sports.
Yes.
And I mean, hopefully, once we find that consistency, do interviews.
Brady. That's my Brady. Yes. Tom, no?
Tom Brady.
Here we go. I watched the episode of this series on Netflix. I can't get to it, but it's where there's cloning taking place. And it was so funny because Tom Brady popped up in one of the episodes. And they were basically saying he's so good. It's because he's been cloned every year. Yeah.
Well, the man is 45 and still
But
playing.
I was watching this backstory documentary about him. And it was about how he started out pretty average. And then
Yeah, he was a 6th round.
Yes, draft pick, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, you never expect that. But the man was this committed to the game that he got divorced from his supermodel wife.
Wow.
Well, he literally he retired last year.
Yeah.
But then he decided, okay, I'm coming
Coming
back.
back.
Then Giselle, who's his wife,
Yes.
they got divorced. And now after season, he's retired. And it was such an average season for him. He should have just retired last year. But anyway, talking about commitment,
Yes,
we are committed to the podcast.
100%.
And like I said, we're opening it up in terms of sports, whatever the biggest
Yes.
talking points are. But we also, as our consistency comes, there'll be interviews.
Yeah.
There'll be this, there'll be that, there'll be that.
We want to do amazing interviews with amazing people, but I've been very firm with Carl about this. Going, we are not going to do that until we are committed to doing this thing weekly.
100%.
That's why we're doing it in studio and not via online, because this is important. And I also want to see how much depth your wardrobe has. You're under pressure now.
Sure.
I can wear black sweaters every day. You're the cool one in this thing.
There's not. I love that you called me the cool one, because
You're
I
the cool
really
one.
needed, as
But
a
you're cool.
35-year-old father that's losing his hair. This is the type of stuff I need to hear. So
Yeah.
thank you.
And it's got a boop.
I do.
I
Now
know.
you see now.
I'm
that's-
shaming you. I got a
now
boop, so
I'm
I can't shame
sensitive.
you, boop. You know what I love about our age group is that when we as 30-year-olds plus get together, we all have a moment we go, yeah, nah, I'm trying to eat better. We all have this moment where men just grab their tummies. Now I got a bit of heartburn, but it's all right. You know, I'm trying to some intermittent fasting. We lost it, you eat. I lost Thursday.
But I've been sucking my tummy in the whole time. so,
Have you put in I put in a suit from a few months ago.
yeah.
Your suit will expose you. That what's it? Undergarment of the suit.
The waistcoat.
My waistcoat buttons are like maybe.
Yeah. No, my shirts are now like
Tough.
that.
It's tough.
And I was always like a small, maybe medium.
Yeah.
Now that's definitely
But you
changed.
know what, bruh? It's 2023. Love yourself. That's the main thing.
I do like my face full of there. I look back at like.
This is not
te-
reflections about whether you
Look
attractive
here,
or
we
not.
committed to the podcast.
We're committed to the podcast. We are bad at goodbyes. Thank you for watching and listening to
Non-traveling reserves.
Nailed It. All right.